Well, Vice President JD Vance addressed the fatal ICE shooting at the White House press briefing today. He reiterated the message from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, saying the federal officer who opened fire yesterday was, quote, doing his job.
The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job.
Joining us live now is CBS News senior coordinating producer Anna Schecter. Anna, great to see you. When the vice president says that the officer has, quote, absolute immunity, what exactly is the legal precedent for federal agents when it comes to deadly force?
This is a great question. It all comes down to whether the response was reasonable based on the threat. So this can come down in a court of law, actually. What it would take, and this is very unusual, would be for a district attorney to bring charges against this ICE agent. But the FBI is leading the investigation, and we know that the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehensions has basically dropped the case because they said the FBI has blocked them from seeing crucial information, and they said they cannot conduct a full and thorough investigation. So right now there's so much in flux. What we do know is the FBI is leading this investigation. They are gathering information, and it will be up to the Department of Justice at this point, given what happened at the state level, to decide if this official is disciplined or not. At the heart of the matter, though, is was it reasonable? Did he feel threatened? Was it reasonable for him to feel that his life or the lives of his fellow agents were in danger? And he's already been interviewed probably by investigators. It's hard to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. He's going to tell his story, and potentially we could see lawyers bring a case against him, but it's all up in the air at this time, Liz.
Yeah, and it's important to note, Anna, we're also learning more about this ICE officer who opened fire, and it sounds like this individual was involved in a separate incident last year that took a violent turn. Can you tell us what happened and what else we know about this officer?
This is a great point as well. So back in June, about 6 months ago, this same ICE agent who is based in Minnesota, so he is a local person, he was tasked with making an arrest of somebody who was illegally in this country, but had also been charged with criminal acts, including sexual misconduct with a minor. So this is somebody that they definitely wanted to get off the streets, that ICE was focused on. And what happened is this agent was able to find this individual in his vehicle. He put his arm through a broken window, but that person then stepped on the gas, and he basically was dragged, and he sustained major injuries to his right arm. He needed more than 20 stitches. In fact, there's a case brought against the person who was driving the vehicle, and you see photos there on your screen. That is from that case. They were included in the documentation, and so you see that right arm. That was a serious injury. So this just happened to him. So that, we can take into account as we are thinking about his mindset when he decided to pull that trigger and fire those fatal shots, when it appears on some of the videos that the victim was trying to drive away.
Now, Anna, the shooting is now being investigated by the FBI exclusively. Minnesota officials say federal authorities blocked their access to evidence in this case. I spoke to the sheriff for Hennepin County about this. She says she would like to have some kind of role in this investigation, given that it happened in her area. Is it typical for the FBI to take full control of an investigation like this?
Well, it depends, but generally you would think that there would be a joint investigation led by the FBI, but with the support of the local agents. And so those locals would also have access to information. You could take any big case, any high-profile murder. Think about Luigi Mangione. Of course, that was federal agents were involved, the NYPD was involved. Everybody was working together to work on that investigation and find him. In this case, this is a very high-profile event. It's a major news event. You've had the governor weighing in, you've had the attorney general, and even the president of the United States weighing in. So it's not surprising that the FBI would be the lead, but generally you would have them work together. And that has happened in the recent past. In fact, in just the last year, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension handled when Vance Belter went and fatally shot a state lawmaker and her husband and wounded another lawmaker and his wife. You also had that same agency investigate a school shooting that was really horrific, where it was a really multiple injuries and deaths, a really high profile case. Of course you had federal agents assisting, but this bureau was very involved and essentially handled it. So it is surprising that there would be such a rift at this time, Liz.
Anna Schecter, thank you so much.